So today's video, about 8 months ago roughly, I had a customer came up to me, wanted to get into the whole gaming computer thing, and we took an old Optiplex, which I'll have a video link somewhere around here. And what we did with this old Optiplex was we gutted it out, put it into a modern day case, gave our Dell Optiplex, I believe it was the 3020 or 3010, we gave it a nice facelift, put a graphics card, bit of video card, graphics card, power supply, added a solid state, and we were to get them a computer for about $200. This was about 8 months ago. Well, just like any person who gets into computer gaming, they got bit by the bug, and now they want to upgrade and they want to be able to get into more intense gaming with better frames and better experience. Although this one's actually pretty good, there are some games that it does have limitations on. This is actually a GTX 760, i5 3rd gen, did have 8 gigs of RAM, but they want to beef it up. So today's video, we're going to be talking about how to save money when you're upgrading your computer. So what we have in front of us is our upgrade path. This computer actually has still good viable parts that we can actually use. We're upgrading the video card. Obviously, we're getting rid of the motherboard and CPU, upgrading that completely. But minus these components to include the memory, everything else is good. DVD writer is good. This case is good. It still has a mechanical hard drive, has a solid state, and we still have a good power supply. So when I build these computers, I make sure we have a good power supply. So at least in a decent case, that way we can upgrade the components and make a better computer later. So we still have a lot of parts, and this roughly saves us. I mean, you figure a power supply is about 40 bucks, 20 for a solid state, 60, maybe 20 for this, 80, and then 40. So we actually end up saving about $120 to $150 just by reusing a lot of our old components. We still have the fans that we can use. They're good fans. And so we have everything that we need. So what we're going to upgrade is motherboard, CPU, memory, and the video card. And we're going from an Intel build to a Ryzen 5 build. So we're going to talk about these components real quick. We're going with the Ryzen 5 2600. This is the non-X version. It comes with a CPU cooler, which is actually pretty good and decent if you're not planning to do overclocking. We're not going to be doing overclocking with this computer. Upgrading to 16 gigs of memory. And we went with the Corsair Vengeance Pro because I actually got a good price on it, so that's actually pretty good. Motherboard, Asus B450 Prime. Since, like I said, we're not doing overclocking, we're not too heavy, that type of thing. We're going to get good performance out of this just the way it is. So we went with this B450 Prime, and we'll take a look about that. I've used this board plenty of times. Great board, enjoy it, and it still has a great upgrade path if they even want to get a faster CPU. And for our graphics card, we actually went with the Radeon RX 570 by Power Color. It's the Red Dragon edition. Really good card. Love these RX 570s. It's the 4 gigabyte version. So price, what are we looking at? Roughly came out to about $430. The CPU is about $125, which if you're looking at now, this Ryzen 5 2600 has went up. I've seen them about $150. The memory was about $90. This has actually gone up a little bit, but there actually still some good prices on it. This motherboard is about $75, which actually looking at now, by the time the customer had ordered this, these prices have went up. This is about $75, and this is about $135. Now, my 2 cents on this graphics card, I'm actually gonna do a separate video on the performance on this and a better review. You can get these things used for about $80, and I'm a big fan of doing it for a budget build, but for a customer who wants graphics cards for long-term warranty, this is actually better for what we're doing. I mean, if we're going all brand new with this, we might as well spend the extra money and get a graphics card with used, some warranty, and we could probably overclock this a little bit and get some better performance out of it. So this is the computer that we're going to be building. We're going to be putting it together. We're going to be ripping out this old Dell Optiplex i5 3rd gen, which is actually still a pretty good computer. I mean, for office, light gaming, definitely a good Fortnite contender. So still a good computer, but customer is ready to upgrade and play some better games. So we're going to take all this stuff out, we'll do a montage of ripping this stuff out, we'll pop this in, we'll build this computer, and then we'll talk about it and the performance increase. All right, so our Ryzen 5 2600 is build. Actually not too bad of a build. Now I know the cable management in this case is not the best. I'm actually gonna clean this up. I just wanted to make sure I get this video out because the customer wants his computer back tonight so he could get into some epic gaming. This case is DIY PC case. I am not a huge fan of it. I mean, it was a cheap case. I think I paid like $30 for it, but it is not the most friendly to build in. You actually gotta take this fan out to put the motherboard in there. That's one thing I don't like. It has the provisions for a DVD writer and or CD writer, who nobody uses that anymore. But when you put it in, it actually interferes with the memory and the cable. But like I said, nobody uses it. So we just took that out, and luckily I still had the cover for it, so we were able to put that back in. Other than that, overall, not too bad of a build. Just I wish this case had better provisions for cable management, but when you're gaming on a budget, building on a budget, it is what it is. So typically when I build a computer, one thing I like to do is, we get to game stress test it to see how games run with it, but I like to run two programs in the background. One of them is AIDA 64, I know it's the trial version, but at least I get 30 days. And I run AIDA 64, I run Heaven Benchmark, and I run them simultaneously to put the stress on the CPU and the GPU just to see where they're holding up. As you can see, our CPU, and this has been running for 26 minutes, I run it for about a half hour to an hour. This is about 77 degrees. Now, yes, that seems very high, but this is like an extreme case, worst case scenario of how your computer is going to run. I mean, this is like torturing this CPU. And considering that we're hitting 77 degrees, when I put the panel on, it pops up to about 81 degrees. That's not bad for an AMD stock cooler. So you're really not going to reach this unless you do some type of extreme overclocking or severe heavy-duty video editing. But for gaming, you're really not going to hit that, and those temps are going to be a lot manageable. I think when I was doing some gaming on it, my temperatures were sitting about 60 to 65, no thermal throttling whatsoever. Over here, I run 1080p with Heaven Benchmark, and as you can see, I don't know if that gets it in there, but we were jumping around anywhere between, low 70 to 100 frames per second running 1080p extreme. So RX 570, definitely a great graphics card, definitely still viable and runs pretty good. When I was playing my games, and either, depending, because I've been having some video issues lately going on with my program, but either I put it in the montage of me building this computer or some, or some game video, if I'm able to get that in there. Fortnite ran flawlessly. It was actually a great experience. Jedi Fallen Order, no issues. Shadow of the Tomb Raiders, we were able to play 1080p at max settings, had no hiccups. Running anywhere from 70 to 90 frames per second. Not even overclocking this, and if I was to overclock this, we could get a couple more frames out of it. So overall, this is actually a really good computer. So what can we take from this? What was the point of the video? The point of the video is that if you want to upgrade your computer, you don't have to throw everything out. You can either take your old computer, flip it, make some cash for it, or in this case, we can actually use all the old parts that are still good and viable. This computer was only built like 8 or 9 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. The hard drive, mechanical hard drive, I upgraded this for the guy, but he had a 500 gig one. We put a 1 terabyte in there, just upgrade for the customer, take care of your customers. Still use the mechanical hard drive, still use the solid state, use the power supply, the fans, and the case. And that actually saved us right there probably about $100 to $150, just depending on prices. 50 for a power supply. These are actually going 30 now, 30, 20, so 100 right here, maybe $20. We're shipping $50 for the case. So we saved about $150. We put about $400, just make math easy, $450 for these parts. So $600, we were able to save $150 and put some good, decent parts in it. So very happy with this. Only thing I ran into some funky things with this Asus motherboard. I still like this motherboard, just need a BIOS flash. Put the BIOS flash in there, all problems resolved. So good computer, good budget, $450, use your old parts, $600, get some new parts. And you can actually change things up as you want. If you wanted to change just play around with your budget and you could get the type of computer that you're looking to get. So good computer, good bang for the buck. I'm sure the customer will enjoy it, play some good games, and we still have a good upgrade path. Definitely go Ryzen 7. We could go 3000 series now that we have the BIOS flash update. Could put in any NVIDIA card or something better than this if they wanted to. Definitely upgrade the RAM, bigger hard drive. So upgrade path, still great on this computer. So comment down below, let me know what you think, your experiences, your recommendations for budget builds, or what you would have done different. Where would you allocated the budget for this? I was told the budget for this was about $450, and we think we got about $435 out of it. So we're $15 under budget, and we were still able to build a good computer without breaking the bank using a lot of our old parts. So hit the like button if you liked the video, comment down below, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thank you for watching, and we'll see what we come up with next.